The 7th episode of Sevdigim Sensin begins exactly where everything left off. Erkan pulls Dicle out of the overturned car. Sitting on the ground with her in his arms, he breaks down in tears, calling her name. After checking that both Dicle and Bursin are still breathing, he finally manages to call an ambulance. As he gently strokes Dicle's face, he pleads, "Dicle, open your eyes. Don't do this to me. Today is your birthday. I promised we would celebrate many more together. I'll do anything you want. Just please, open your eyes." At that moment, Furman manages to get out of the car. Even injured, he watches from a distance as Erkan holds Dicle and cries. And believing she might be dead, he begins to blame himself. Erkan, desperate, with trembling hands and tear-filled eyes, tells Dicle that she still has a beautiful life ahead. That she will study, choose a profession, and that if she is happy, he will be happy too. Even so, he keeps begging, "Dicle, please open your eyes." And then, she opens her eyes. She calls his name. Erkan immediately leans closer, relieved, and holds her tenderly. Furman also breathes a sigh of relief, but deep down, he still sees her as his guarantee. Shortly after, Dicle remembers what happened and asks about Bursin. She tells Erkan everything Furman did. Consumed by anger, Erkan stands up and heads toward Furman. But he is interrupted when Dicle screams, asking for help for Bursin. Erkan runs back to the car and pulls Bursin out. When he realizes she is seriously injured, he panics. With a weak voice, Bursin looks at him and says, "You never loved me, but I always loved you, Erkan. Don't forget me." And shortly after, her eyes close. Erkan and Dicle are in shock. Meanwhile, Tahir continues following Fikret's secretary, trying to find out more about his mother. After much insistence, she reveals a shocking secret involving Inci and Fikret. Upon hearing this, Tahir is completely shaken. He feels unwell, stops the car in the middle of the street, and even collapses to the ground. After some time, he manages to recover, but clearly, nothing will ever be the same. In another scene, we see Jivan and Nulüfer dealing with a delicate situation. After the birth, they realize the baby is not crying. Panic sets in, but Jivan manages to act quickly, and with a few movements, makes the baby respond. And finally, the cry echoes. Relieved, Nulüfer hugs him, and Jivan cannot hide his happiness in that moment. At the hospital, Bursin is rushed into surgery in critical condition. Dicle, with minor injuries, stays by Erkan's side. When the family arrives, Dicle explains that Bursin overturned the car to save her from Ferman, but instead of understanding, she is met with accusations. Everyone starts blaming her, especially Fatosh and Inci. In the end, Inci says something harsh. She tells Dicle to leave and disappear from their lives. The tension rises even more when Bursin's parents also begin to blame Erkan for allowing Ferman to get close. At another hospital, another conflict unfolds. Teoman starts arguing with Nulüfer, blaming her for his wife's premature labor. The situation spirals out of control when he grabs her forcefully, but Jivan immediately steps in to defend her. What no one realizes is that some people nearby were recording everything. Meanwhile, Tahir decides to confront his own mother. He goes to the hospital and asks directly, "Who is my father?" Inci is shocked by the question. She tries to explain and admits that she once had a relationship with Fikret, but insists that he is not Tahir's father. Tahir doesn't seem to fully believe her, and when Isat approaches, he starts treating him coldly, which leads to an even bigger argument inside the hospital. But everything gets worse when suddenly, news appears on television. It's the video of the fight between Nulüfer and Teoman, recorded in front of the hospital, and that only adds more chaos to everything. In another moment, we see Dicle going to the police station with Erkan to report Ferman. There, she tells everything she went through, all the cruelty she suffered at the hands of her own brother. and as proof, she shows the scars on her body. Erkan, who is in the room, and Jivan, who is listening from outside, are completely shocked by such violence. After that, Dicle asks Kadir to take her to the association. But when they arrive at the gate, they find a tense situation. An angry man is demanding to see his wife. And when he is stopped from entering, he ends up taking Dicle hostage. Panic spreads everywhere, but luckily, the person in charge of the association acts quickly and restrains the man before anything worse can happen. After the scare, Dicle makes an important decision. She tells Kadir that after the divorce, she intends to stay at the Women's Protection Association, because there, Furman won't be able to hurt her. Meanwhile, Jivan goes to meet Furman, who managed to sneak into the mansion. During their conversation, Jivan notices something strange. Furman is wearing a valuable watch, clearly stolen. Soon after, we return to the association. At the end of a class, Erkan shows up looking for Dicle and finds her staring at a world map. With a slight smile, he starts pointing out some places, including Turkey. The moment feels light until the topic changes. Erkan brings up the divorce again. He says everything would be safer if Dicle moved to England, far away from Furman. Confused, Dicle asks him to show her where England is on the map. He does. But when she sees how far it is, she immediately refuses. She says it's too far away. Later, back at the mansion, Dicle is surprised by Furman. He blackmails her and demands that she steal valuable items from the house. That night, Dicle tries to do what he asked, but she can't. With a few objects in her hands, she breaks down, sits down and starts crying. That's when Erkan walks into the room. Seeing her like that, he tries to calm her down, and Dicle, through tears, says, "I'm not a thief, but if I don't do this, he will kill the sheep." Outside the mansion, Furman waits to receive the money and the jewelry, but he is caught off guard by the police. Desperate, he tries to run back inside. But Erkan stops him, disarms him, and restrains him. Shortly after, Furman is taken away by the police. Dicle watches everything in fear, and Erkan tries to comfort her. But when he sees Jivan, he loses his patience. Furious, he accuses him of allowing Furman into the mansion and tells him to leave. But Dicle intervenes and asks Erkan to let Jivan stay. The next morning, Dicle and Erkan are talking when they are surprised by an unexpected visitor, Burçin. She decides to stay at the mansion until she recovers. And more than that, she starts sharing a room with Dicle. By Inci's order, Erkan is sent to the guest room. Meanwhile, in prison, Furman makes a threatening call to Inci. He demands that she make Dicle and Burçin withdraw the complaint against him, or he will reveal her past with Fikret to Esat. With no way out, Inci breaks down in tears. A week passes, and Erkan takes Dicle out to dinner. But the atmosphere is completely different. At one point, Dicle mentions the divorce scheduled for the next day. Silence fills the air. The sadness is clear in both of their eyes. With tears in her eyes, Dicle thanks Erkan for everything he has done for her. And in silence, he does the same. Finally, the day of the trial arrives. Dicle and Kadir are talking while waiting for Erkan. But what they don't know is that Erkan is already there, silently listening to everything. And at that moment, he hears something that changes everything. Kadir reveals that Inci was the one responsible for bringing Dicle's siblings to Istanbul. Erkan is shocked. Unable to hold back, he interrupts the conversation, demanding an explanation, hurt and upset. He realizes that they both knew the truth and never told him. Without saying anything else, Erkan walks away, clearly shaken. Dicle tries to talk to him. But Erkan, nervous, once again insists that she go to England, for her own safety. Now, he no longer trusts even the association, since his own mother is involved in everything. As the episode nears its end, the events begin to escalate. In a quick scene, We see Tahir holding the result of the DNA test he took earlier. Soon after, Jivan and Nulufar arrive at the courthouse. Nulufar asks him to wait outside. But curious, Jivan asks one of the family's security guards what is happening, and then he finds out. On that day, Dijla and Erkan are going to get divorced. Without thinking twice, he runs toward the courtroom. Meanwhile, Dijla and Erkan are called. The two exchange a deep look, full of pain, but without saying a word, they walk inside together. Outside, Kadir receives an unexpected call. It's a woman named Fatma. She says she has returned to Istanbul to be with him. Kadir tries to push her away, reminding her that she is married and pregnant. But she, desperate, reveals something shocking. Her husband wants to kill her, because she still loves Kadir. The conversation is interrupted by Jivan's arrival, completely agitated, trying to get into the courtroom at any cost. Inside the courtroom, the decisive moment arrives. The judge asks Dijla if she really wants to get divorced. With tears in her eyes, she says yes. Then, the same question is asked to Erkan, and at that exact moment, he hears his mother's voice. Finally, we will get rid of this peasant. That is the breaking point. Erkan is overcome by a mix of anger, disappointment, and pain. Especially after having just discovered that she was the one responsible for bringing Dijla's siblings to Istanbul. The scene cuts to Furman in prison. When he sees the news about the divorce on TV, he loses control. He breaks the glass in his hands and starts shouting. The other inmates, annoyed, go after him. And then we return to the courtroom. Erkan looks at his mother with a cold stare. He stands up and in front of everyone says to the judge, "I don't want to get divorced." And that's how another intense episode